Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Didn't even do it right this time, Blythe. I'm a little upset.
Oh, I did it perfectly.
We're doing
I
it.
heart
Get it
Baby
out of here.
Yoda.
Get out of here, Satomi.
There
Get
is
it out of here.
There is so much.
Cute.
Yeah, there's just some like.
I wore
smoke
this
going on
for
between you two.
Blythe. Yes, for our listeners, I'm wearing a Baby Yoda shirt. He's in my
The worst.
pocket, and he's so
Oh,
cute.
such a fan.
He's so cute.
You're playing right into the reason why they created that character in the first place. Good job.
And I'm down. I'm down.
And it has
Drinking
better
the
ratings than anything
Kool-Aid.
else.
I have a buddy who just told me today that he bought a 1-to-1 scale figure of Baby Yoda. I was like, I'm gonna come over and smash it
No.
just
That's
into
evil.
oblivion.
You're
Oh.
really too young to be this
So
bitter.
old. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you have to get at least another 15 years on you before you're allowed to be that bitter.
He
When
wants
you're
to be
my
admitted-
age, you can be bitter.
Wait until
Oh.
15 years from now. I'm
He
You're
gonna
gonna
wants to be
You know, in 15 years, he's gonna have his own podcast, yelling at these young whippersnappers. That's what
He'll be Wilford Brimley and Cocoon by then.
The Walt Kowalski of podcasts.
he wants to be
Oh.
admitted to the evil league of evil.
There you go.
He hopes so. He wants to be the
Yes.
horse guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so
That horse.
let's get on to what we're talking about today. We are talking about a musical for people who hate musicals, and that is Dr. Horrible's
Avenue Q?
sing-along blog. Did I say that all right? Is that the whole name?
Dr. Horrible sing-along
Sing-along
blog.
blog.
Thank you.
Blog.
Oh,
Yes.
this is something I saw parts of a lot, and then I finally sat down and made myself watch the whole thing. I'm like, this is so good. And I've listened to the soundtrack a lot. This is one of those soundtracks you can listen to without seeing the movie, and you get it. Which is, if you've seen my musical posts, you know what I'm talking about. But absolutely love this. Let me introduce the whole panel today, which is all over the screen because the 5 people thing makes it look all different. Let's start with Miss Geeky Paige. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing outstanding. I like your background. If you're
Thank
a
you.
listener, it's Dr. Horrible.
Yes.
So yeah.
If you're a listener, my background is my Zoom Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog background.
It's absolutely outstanding. Okay, and then we also have up top on the other side of the screen, we have Miss Chrissy in the closet. I think we're doing that one today. We're
Hello.
gonna Sean. We're gonna change your name every week, I think.
Every week. I like it. It fits my multiple personalities.
Well, that's from living in Oregon. That's kind of what does it.
Oh!
Okay, and then below me we have Miss Satomi. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk about this little mini musical that I love because I do musicals professionally, so I like talking about them.
Well, yeah, that's
Why are you laughing at me?
I know, it's good. That's awesome.
He's like, sure. You're shut down.
and then the youngest curmudgeon in history, we have Mr. Blythe. How are you doing, bud?
What's up, everybody? Doing
What's
good.
new in your world, sir?
This is new.
Oh,
For the
Cut your
listener,
hair.
he has cut his hair and trimmed the beard.
Yeah, because
For those of you who are
Satomi and
not watching
Ellie
YouTube.
made fun of me in
We
the
did
pet
not.
episode.
We did
I
not.
felt very sad, and then just
We wanted to
razor too.
cuddle with your mane.
So basically, you're saying you gave into peer pressure.
Oh.
I built a pool. I built a pool in the middle of summer and
did
in Las
it.
Vegas, and I needed
And
to
that's
get rid
the
of it.
only hair left
much.
on your entire body.
That's it. That's it. That's all
Okay.
that was left
Ew.
after it was done.
gross.
Yeah.
We just went to a really weird place, and I
Very
don't
weird.
think we need to stay there.
Yes,
No,
we're
I
gonna
was
jump
thinking
out
like
of
a
that.
swimmer.
We're gonna jump out of that. Let's jump right into the film. Would we call this a movie? Because it's 42 minutes long.
It's
not
a
really-
web series, really.
It's a web series.
Yeah.
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 It's very much in the same vein as The Guild. If you guys were into that, only has one season instead of like the 9 that The Guild had.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it does. And we're going to get into this later, but the ending is upsetting enough that it needs another season. We'll get into that later.
Yes.
It's a perfect
ask-
ending.
How did you guys kind of discover this? Because it is something you have to find. It's not something that was just like in your face. I don't think anyway. Let's start with Christina. How did you find Dr. Horrible?
So I love random things, and I had a friend in Vegas that said, "Oh, you have to check this out." And he was talking about how, because it came out when really watching things on the internet was not as prevalent as it is today, like Hulu and and it was on, I think it was on Hulu, was one of the original places.
Hulu Studios.
And I didn't even have Hulu, so me and a bunch of girls, we talked him into letting us to go to his house, and we went to his house just to watch it, and we watched it like 4 times.
In a row?
But yes, and by the 4th time, it was a drinking game, which made it even better. So
every time they said moist, I just made all the collective female listeners just like want to gag. That's awesome.
It's a terrible word.
Miss Geeky Page, what about you? How'd you find it?
Kind of similar to Christina. It was like a friend suggested it, and but when I watched it, you could like rent it, or I think we watched it off of YouTube or something like that, because it wasn't on Hulu, that much I know, and we watched it on my couch. But it was a thing where he's like, I know you love Joss Whedon, I know you like a huge Buffy and Angel fan, you gotta watch Dr. Horribles, it's really, really funny. And I said, okay. So we got pizza and beer one night and watched it, and it was just hilarious. So
P.S. before we go on, I want to let you guys know that in the show notes, I'm actually going to have the YouTube link, so that if you haven't watched this, you can watch it, because it is so amazing. And this is one of those movies that I really want you guys all to experience. So tell me, what about you?
I had a very similar experience. Like Courtney,
It's all word of mouth.
Buffy and Angel fan. It came out as a response to the writer's strike, not to the writer's strike, in support of the writer's strike. And so, we knew this strike was going on. We're wondering how it was going to affect the business. And then we just started hearing about this project that Joss Whedon and his brother had been working on. And I believe it was released on YouTube initially, because the whole point was that it was free.
3
and they were
parts,
showing, it was 3 parts, but I mean, it was free for viewers, because they were trying to show that there's still a way for writers to get great stuff out there, and the studios can go and do their thing until they remember that how important writers are. And unfortunately, we're still not quite there. But
I really feel like that this was incredibly groundbreaking. I will get you in a second, Blythe. But it's groundbreaking because, I mean, how many times has this been copied since this? This was an unheard of thing, and now this is where everyone goes to make their mark, is doing something like this. Just let's do something really memorable, that's not expensive, that is Kevin Smith style, with lots of dialogue, and that's about it, and it makes people happy. And honestly, I think this was really a stepping stone to why we're doing what we do now. That includes podcasts and everything else. I think it took it a lot off of this. What about you, Mr. Blythe?
So I saw it because it came out in 2008, which is the year I graduated high school. I probably saw it the next year when I was chaperoning some trip to Disneyland, and that's what the kids that we were chaperoning brought to watch on the way to Disneyland. Was that. So that was the first time I had been shown it, and then since then I've watched it numerous times, listened to the soundtrack over and over again. But I think you're right, Deb. I think it really opened the door, especially back then, for known creators to do their own like passion projects via the internet, instead of waiting for someone to greenlight something. Now you have directors and writers from big Hollywood that do their own spin on things. We've seen there's one with like Darth Vader that's come out recently on the internet. There's like dark and gritty Power Rangers where I forget the director, but he called in favors from all these different A-list Hollywood stars, and then they put together this 30-minute short of what like the Power Rangers would be if it was like rated R and dark and gritty and stuff like that. And that this is the precursor to that. So it just showed that a creator could reach out to his friends that he's worked with through all of these years and make something happen that no one would normally touch. Because let's face it, this wouldn't have aired anywhere else except for the internet.
No,
not at that time. No.
No, and honestly, I say I do want to see it. I think if it had another 30 minutes, it could have been a real movie, quote unquote. But at the same time, it feels like it ended at the right time because you weren't bored by that point.
Yeah, it's
you were still interested.
Don't mess with perfection, man.
Because every musical to me, love the beginning, and then it gets that drop off, and then at the end, it's good again.
It's because you haven't seen as many musicals as you.
That is true, and I'm not hard. I'm trying to open up my.
Yes, you are, and
stuff,
you know.
However, I feel like that length was really good because it's for, as I say, it's a musical for people who don't like musicals or who aren't into musicals.
One thing it did really well is that it opened up the possibility again for short form serialized content, because you know, like in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, everybody had like radio content that was serialized,
right?
You know, and those were only maybe like 15-20 minutes long. I think an episode of The Shadow is like 25 minutes long. So by them creating Dr. Horribles, because there really wasn't anything like that at that time, it said, okay, well, here's this short form quick content, you know, because like the Guild itself is, those episodes are like 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Piece.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's here's a little quick something you can watch and enjoy on a little bit of downtime if you have it. So it really opened up the venue for that.
And it didn't feel forced by that. Like I've seen some of these Quibi shows, and a lot of them it feels very much, I'm going to do a short form and it's going to be that, and it feels very forced. This didn't feel forced. The Guild never felt forced because I feel like it was a something they put on themselves rather than just a challenge. Like the Quibi guys, a lot, it'll be like, well, it's a challenge to put this all into one little thing. I don't feel like that's what the producers had or the directors had in mind. It's like, okay, this is all I need to tell the story. I'm going to cut the crap out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, when you look at it, it really has the format of a TV episode because episodes are constructed in acts. So, you know, you've got your first act, your second act, your third act, and they do last about 15 minutes at a time. So, you know, it's something that, because, you know, these guys are coming from TV, so they understand that, that genre, and they were able to take it and just translate it on the internet, putting it in these little bites that were a little more palatable, or palatable is the wrong word, but, you know, something that someone could take in on their own time, like in a break, where they don't have to sit and dedicate to, you know, to an hour, you know, once you add commercials, to an hour of TV watching. They can just kind of consume it real quick, like quick bites.
So they didn't have to watch it 4 times in one night?
Well,
you don't have to, but you
here's
can.
Here's the thing. I definitely did. And when I rewatched it for this episode, I proceeded to watch it over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah. I watched it a couple times in preparation for this. You know, I sat down and watched it, and then I made my wife watch it because it's, you know, and this is what I texted Satomi. I'm like, you know, I just didn't realize this is so, and I couldn't think of the word. And then I got the perfect word for it. This is charming. You know, it just, you know, it's just like, it's a first date. You know, it's everything you want in a first date. It's smart without making you feel dumb. It's funny. It's got a little bit of sadness in there without being overly that you have tears coming out. And, you know, and you're going to find things you don't like in it too, without it. But there's nothing there you hate, if that makes sense. It to me is it's a first date. Which I know is a really weird, but the music in it, I want to talk about that a little bit. I think every song in it is pretty close to perfect. The way
I
the
disagree,
voices
but that's okay.
Okay, so what is it you don't like about it?
I think because there are songs in there that are so well written and so good and support the story, that when when it falls off, it becomes more. It becomes really, gosh, words. They're hard, apparently.
Words.
Words. So I'm going to put it in an example. So one of my lesser favorite songs is "So They Say," which is the opening to is it Act 3 or it's you know what, I can't remember. Anyhow, it's the one where everybody's talking about Hammerman has a girlfriend, and
he's great with his girlfriend. We don't care about that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fans are like the best thing ever. That trio,
because they're real.
They're so real. They are so real. But there's like the "Let's all be our best." Next up, who's gay? I mean, it just felt like that they were the writing team was so good at mining the funny and they kept mining.
Yeah.
Every other song had these really great lyrics, like the "Make Time Stand Still" in Freeze Ray. These great lyrics. And it was what happens is you end up in those moments going like, that, it's fine. It's a fine moment, and it just sticks out because everything else is so good.
Yeah.
I have lots of opinions. I'm going to back off though now.
That's fair.
Other people have opinions too.
But as a musician too, you'll hear me complain about some of the soundtracks that I listen to because it's musically and sonically not what I like. But that one, very simple orchestrations, but they were right, if that makes sense.
And actually complex when you listen to, some of the counterpoint, and you listen to some of those, that underlying, "Cannot Believe My Eyes." I mean, come on.
It's jazz musicians that made this. I mean, guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay, somebody else talk. Because I have more opinions. I can keep going. I could go for the whole 40 minutes. You just never shut me up.
Sometimes.
There you
go. No.
I think what I love is that, I hadn't watched in a couple of years, and how easily you slip into singing those songs right along with them.
Mhm.
Like the lyrics have always been hidden in the back of your mind. And, that was a fun part, because when I watched it with Sean, he's like, "How do you know these songs?" I was like, "It's just natural because you've been listening to them, in the back of your head." And they even now, like, even if I haven't seen it, but I'll see something out in the real world and I'll start singing it because it just pops right in there.
Yeah. That's outstanding. Let me kind of throw this question out a little bit, because I don't know if you guys were aware, there's a comic book, not a series, but there's a graphic novel that's about 200 pages. That's Dr. Horrible, and it has one story in it that Dr. Horrible and Hammerman, or the Hammer, or whatever his name is.
Captain Hammer.
Captain Hammer.
Hammer.
I'm
Get
sorry.
the heck out of here.
He's like a Marvel character. I just don't
She
care about
does
him.
refer to him as Hammerman at one point.
There you go.
But
But
tight pants.
they had there's actually a whole storyline that they were best friends, and it goes into their backstory enough that the whole musical makes so much more sense. However, even especially after reading the comic book, I don't like the Penny character. Because she's too good, she's too perfect. There is no negative to her, and you read the comics and it's the same thing. She's just, there is no black in there. You know what I mean?
Do Right's girlfriend.
Yeah.
What would you want there to be wrong with her, though? Like,
something.
It fits the narrative, but it's only a 40-minute narrative,
Sure.
so you really can't build
Yeah.
a negative story around her without going. That's the whole. I think that's the whole thing, and why this is so charming is it's just a very simplistic story.
Yeah.
I don't need Penny to have some weird dark history of why
Not
she's
dark,
turned,
but just
Why she
turned to
became the
why
Batman?
she's turned to the light after years of being in the dark. Like,
Yeah.
I just
Dog.
she works for the
suddenly
story.
She's Bane.
She does have those lines about, after years of stormy sailing, have I finally found the bay. So
Yeah.
she's got it there, and she needs to be she needs to be seen from Dr. Horrible's view. You know what I mean? It's kind of.
You might be more right on that. That might be kind of where they went. Because let's be honest, Joss Whedon is brilliant at writing female heroes.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that translated onto Penny.
No, but it wasn't her story.
It's not her story. So
well, she was the girl in the fridge. With that, that's not an unfair comparison. I mean, it does happen. There is, the character Moist was the girl in the fridge too. He didn't really have a purpose rather than to.
I'm looking at you slightly incredulously because I don't know this phrase.
Okay, the girl in the fridge thing. Let me actually hit this real quick.
Yeah, fridging the female.
Yes, that is. It was a Green Lantern storyline that they had months and months and months with the girlfriend of one of the Green Lanterns, and she didn't really do anything to the story except support the Green Lantern character. And then they killed her and put her in a fridge. So, and there was no other purpose for it. There was no reaction.
She's like a MacGuffin.
Except for how it affected the main character.
Okay.
So that's the girl in the fridge thing.
Yeah, when you say it came from Gail Simone actually.
Gail, that was Gail Simone. That sounds like a Gail Simone thing.
And it's whenever now. No kidding. It comes from what Dub said, but anytime in comic books or even in TV, if a female's death is used to spur forth the male characters, and that's the only purpose for her death, then she's been fridged. And there's like a debate as to whether Natasha was fridged in Endgame or not. So that's kind of where you can look at it.
And there's a balance to it. I don't think that every time a female character dies, it needs to mean something. No. I don't think every time a male character dies, that means something. But the
term fridging means
to me, the
only purpose of the female was to die to push the male forward for something.
Which is what I feel like happened on this story.
See, I disagree because I think Penny represented an ideal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like this she was like the perfect female. But if you really kind of look into the story, how she was perfect for Dr. Horrible was different than how she was perfect for Captain Hammer. Like even in the way they talked about her.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the Captain Hammer is in love with no one but himself. He is actually the villain in the story. I mean, let's be honest.
No.
Really? Some people don't catch that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Played brilliantly by Nathan Fillion.
Oh my gosh! I mean, even how smug that's a gift to be able to sing and sound smug. That is not.
Well, and let's be honest, he's not a particular. You know what? I've heard him sing some other stuff where he's actually quite good. He does not come off as a particularly good singer.
No, I mean
in this format.
But I think seems like it's supposed to be that way. Like he's not supposed to be a really good singer because he's just not a good anything. He's just.
I think it's more that it's less of a supposed to, and it's more that it fits.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not to put you down, Blythe. I like your hair. I like it when it was long.
Oh wow, we're gonna have to justify everything we say to Blythe now.
I even wore my Yoda shirt for you, so there's still a lot of love.
Yeah, you were thought of even when you weren't on screen.
Oh, is that why we were all supposed to wear Yoda shirts? Dang it.
Yes.
I live in Green Lantern. Sorry, or lantern of some sort. So. What to you, and this is, I think this is going to be probably the interesting question of the day. What is this story really about to you? And the ending and all that. What does that mean to you? Let's start with Courtney on this one. What does this story mean to you? What is this really about? Because this story really feels like it's very open for your own interpretation.
I think that's probably right. I mean, everybody
I think it should be.
Takes a little bit. I think everybody approaches it slightly differently.
On what you think would be different from what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I mean, I do like, and I never thought of it before, but I do like Satomi's earlier comment where she said that we are actually viewing Penny from Dr. Horrible's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really thought about it that way before. And I mean, that changes the way that I look at everything is because it is coming from her, so that's why she is so perfect and she is so wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I really like, and I think that's the great thing about this particular show is any interpretation is right.
So,
however you view it.
So with that said, does that mean that Captain Hammer isn't the fumbling idiot that we see him as? Because we're seeing
he's
him.
from
If you're
Dr.
looking at that
Horrible's point of view too.
Yeah. So if Penny's from Dr. Horrible's point of view, then so is Captain Hammer, which means that he may just be
the
your run-of-the-mill superhero. In the spectrum of the world, he is the good guy.
Yeah.
Whether he's a bad guy is besides the point. He's trying to stop Dr. Horrible from entering the evil League of Evil, who want to control the world by their own means. So he is the good guy. But yeah, if you think of it like that, where you're seeing it through Dr. Horrible's eyes, he's probably just your run-of-the-mill superhero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Christina, you got anything?
I just keep going through my head. No, I keep going through my head. Because it is from Dr. Horrible's point of view to a certain extent, but we also have these scenes where he's not in them, he's not viewing them. But for me, it's that line, and I won't finish it, I promise, but by Hammer, I mean. And,
my favorite.
Very, very arrogant superhero. But yeah, for me, it's fun. I interpret it as being, fun, and how in life in general, we all have our own goals and dreams. And we do, at least I do. I play narratives in my head when people are talking to me or having conversations, and especially if I don't necessarily like them really well. I will answer in my head, and then I will answer with my mouth, and they are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that about this, is that, especially like the laundromat scene, and how it goes back and forth at the beginning with him in the laundromat and then him in his lab.
Yeah.
I think that really kind of sets for me that tone of real life and fantasy life and how they can commingle.
So tell me, what do you got? I got something that I'm going to blow you all away with at the end, but I want to.
I mean, you could head shrink this piece to death, because there's
which is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many layers in it, as light and fluffy as it seems, because it's complex, and all the characters, Dr. Horrible specifically is extremely complex.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's what you want is not always what's the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so, and I mean, there's a little bit of be careful what you wish for in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really goes back to, what you want is not always the best for you, because you look at him, he's got that great line where, when he's in the gym and he's shooting his ray, and he's talking about, social, world domination, and then he throws in and social change. And so it's like there's that good in him, but he's so blinded by needing to be in the evil League of Evil to be, what, however that's interpreted, to be seen, to be heard, to be accepted, to be a part of something. And maybe he figured that's the only thing that he could be a part of, because he can't be a hero. I think it sort of speaks to that part of all of us where we want to be the hero, but none of us feel like we deserve to be.
Mm-hmm.
So what else can we do? How else can we change the world?
That's really good. It also hurts a little bit, but it's really good.
Because, even the people who want to be heroes and who are seen as heroes, you'll often hear from them, I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. Don't call me that. I'm not, I'm not famous. I'm not pretty. I'm not talented. We all do it. It's part of the human, it's what we do. So.
Yeah.
That's Satomi's every day. By the way.
Would you all like to lie down now, and we can talk about your mother?
Tell me about your mother. Then we get in that phone booth and head out with Bill and Ted and Sigmund Freud. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh wow! It's always got always callbacks. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I got my father to watch Bill and Ted, and he has never seen it before.
Nice.
Did he love it?
My mom made him watch all 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
Because he said,
Oh,
I
man.
want to watch Face the Music, and she said, you have to watch the other 2 first.
Yeah, you kind of
Nice.
did.
And he did it. Sorry, topic change.
No worries. So let me throw out my theory, then we can topic change all over the place. And this actually, it works with everything that you guys have said, actually. But you know the last scene when he has that full song, and then for the last measure, all the music cuts out, and then he's suddenly in his normal clothes, and it's all a cappella, and it's got the black stage behind him. This whole thing was in his mind.
No, he's in the lab. He's in his lab.
He's in his lab.
You think so?
He is in his lab. Yeah.
It may be in his lab, but I think the whole thing is like we were saying. It's told from his perspective. I think it's all in his mind.
You're wrong.
I'm right.
I don't think it's all in his mind. I think it's either that because right before that they're showing him entering the evil League of Evil and all that. I think it's either A, he has now reached the place where he wanted to, but he still is dead inside because he killed the woman of his dreams, or he
spoilers for everybody who hasn't seen it.
I'm sorry.
No.
You should have probably watched it before.
Right.
Or he's quit. He had his time in the evil League of Evil, and it didn't fulfill him the way that he thought he was. So now he has hung up the goggles and lab coat.
I do love that this is so open for interpretation that we can all agree with all of these and none of them at the same time. Except Satomi, he doesn't agree with me at all.
Wrong, but that's okay.
I have lived entire lives inside of my mind, so I could go either way with that. Like, I we call them, we're extreme daydreamers.
That's what this movie feels like to me. It was just a daydream to him. I mean, did Penny actually die? No. Did he talk to her in the laundromat all the time? Yes. He had a crush on her, and then this butthole guy comes and pushed him around, so he made him into an evil character.
No, you're wrong.
It doesn't work with the comic books, but it does work if you're...
Or maybe...
Let me tell you why it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
That last moment, what is coming through his eyes and what is coming through his soul, because, I mean, Neil Patrick Harris was just so fantastic in this role.
Yeah.
There's too much weight for it to have been a daydream. There's too much, when we daydream, we try stuff on, we try on emotions and experiences, and we can bring ourselves to tears, but there is a numbness in his, like, that grief that is so deep that it's like he's at that point where he's cried himself out and there's just nothing left. There's something that is so painful. And I think too painful to be just a dream play.
Fair enough.
Maybe he really did kill her, and that's his way of coping with it.
That could be it.
He's created this elaborate story for a woman that he murdered.
Or
you just blew Satomi and Christina's mind.
Or maybe she died. She actually died when the car hit her, and he had to have responsibility for that, and that still kind of the same path. But
okay,
anyway.
I could. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Let's have a half hour of this.
I love it.
Now,
love it.
What I find interesting is the factoid that Christina told us before the show started about the pay on that.
Oh, yeah. So I read it in Vanity, I think it was Vanity Fair. Josh Whedon said that he actually made more money off of this than he did directing the Marvel movies. Which
is incredible.
Yeah.
It is, but then it got to me thinking, he really didn't answer to anybody on this. So he did walk away with, and it's become a cult thing. It really has. Yeah. And every time it's replayed and every time it's, we share it with our friends, we share it, so I thought it was funny because we always look at him as this, Angel and Buffy and then, Marvel. And he said, actually, he made more money right here.
Well, and he also
fantastic.
Go ahead, Courtney.
It's a quick and then it's all you. It's also, you can buy the rights to do as a live show.
Yeah.
So
I would love to see this live.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, you can do a theatrical production of community, professional, whatever. So he gets
I want to be
residuals.
moist. Sorry.
He gets the residuals from that as long as people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one
Like
of
Reaper
the.
Madness.
I think it's one of the most played music soundtracks too. Like
Wow.
for musical soundtracks.
Now I'm straight, but I would so want to play Hammerman and do like a Leslie, Penny.
I think you could switch.
With
I think
that.
you could switch every
Gender
character,
roles. Yeah,
every
gender
gender
roles
gender,
gender.
could
switch in
change.
it. And
I'd
do,
be
I
down
think
with
it'd be very
that.
interesting.
I can be Hammerman. I'd have to rethink, that one line, but I actually know I have a solution. I'll tell you guys after.
Oh, something not family friendly.
No. Well,
Blythe,
you know
what
what?
did you have?
I'm sorry. Oh, Blythe, go.
Blythe had something that he wanted.
Oh
to
no, I
say
was just
about-
gonna say it just makes sense that he would walk away with it more profitable, because when you do a big budget movie like Avengers, you're contracted for a certain amount, regardless of how the movie does. That's what you get. But with this, he walked away with the entire IP.
Mhm.
So,
It's
and
betting on
I
yourself.
was doing a little bit of reading about it before, and I guess the whole plan was to create a website, release it online, and if it did well, create a DVD that they would sell with extras and stuff like that. And within a few months, it did well enough for them to want to pull the trigger on that DVD. So then you create a whole line of DVDs, you sell all those out, whatever merchandise and things. Like the entire thing was his for him to just profit on from. And the budget, there is no budget with it. Like it was very minimal. So he walked away with it with definitely up.
And those were all buddy castings, so
yeah,
you know that they weren't asking. They probably all worked for scale, I'm sure, or less.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was to say it's still like it's one of the top 50 on Amazon for video sales, and it's $19.99 and it's 42 minutes, and people don't bat an eye.
Yeah,
like it's because the thought. I mean, I bought it like 4 or 5 years ago, and the thought process was, oh well, I will enjoy this for life.
Yeah. The rewatchability on it is
amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Now I'm curious. Have y'all seen it with commentary ! The musical?
No.
So they actually did. Now I haven't watched it simultaneously because I wasn't able to find it set up that way. So if anybody knows where you can find that, please let me know. But for their commentary, they actually wrote a musical playing themselves. So there's actually it's actually very funny. The fans get their own solos. Steve, who's the tall boy of the fans with that amazing lateral lisp that just makes me love him so very much, has one of the most beautiful songs in the whole commentary. But they all have these songs, and the music is great. So just look for it. Commentary ! I'm curious if that's also part of the money that he made from all of this.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You should find a link for that, Dub, and put it at the bottom.
If I could find it, I'd find it.
So
you can hear the music.
I found the article that Christina was talking about. It says he made more money doing this than he received for the first Marvel movie.
Oh,
so he made more money for the first Avengers movie.
But still, that was still a huge chunk of change.
Yeah.
So, now, I started this episode with saying this is a musical for people who don't necessarily like musicals. And I want to give you guys a chance. I want to give you guys a chance to throw out some other.
You're wrong again.
For people that don't like musicals.
Let me just make this clear. You're wrong.
Okay.
Avenue Q.
Avenue Q. That's, I think,
Hamilton. Dear Evan Hansen.
He doesn't like Hamilton, but you have to remember you're not the only other person in the world.
I know.
And so there's quite a few people who don't like musicals who like Hamilton.
Well, I think part of the issue is when people hear musical, they think what they're going to go to is
Cats.
Sound of Music or like 42nd Street or the stuff that they've seen at their
Cats.
community theater.
Wonderful Town.
You know, and the fact of the matter is, just as movies have evolved, musical theater has evolved. And I mean, I know a lot of people who love, and I was actually going to recommend this to you, Tommy the musical.
Oh, love
it's
Tommy.
great.
Oh, good.
And the stage production, because let's face it, the movie was a little bit of a drug
Weird.
trip.
Well, so is the
but
wall, but you know, hey.
yes, but the musical was is like, oh my gosh, you feel like your face is getting peeled off from
Did
now. It's amazing.
we did? I have a Tommy story if anybody's interested. We did Tommy in college, and I ran the wardrobe crew. And so, you know, there's the opening is the overtures, the dun 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 dun. So one night, now it's a lot to take in when you have to listen to Tommy every single night during a rehearsal run. So during one night, and in that short period of time, there are 7 costume changes.
Jeez.
So I've got to do 7 costume changes on one side of the stage in that short period of time. So one night we start the show, we get all the way through the overture and through the first number, and the director comes from the back of the house and shuts it off because we have sound issues. Rather than just letting it go, he stops the production, tells the audience, hold on, let us fix it, we're going to reset. So we had to reset all of that. Needless to say, it took, well, and I had to do all this, but I literally went to bed every night with dun 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 stuck in my head. I went to sleep with it in my head. I dreamt about it. I woke
And
up
then you had to
with
listen to it twice.
and then I had to listen to it twice in one night and do 14 costume changes.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's
But that
brutal.
said, Tommy's wonderful.
Tommy, I want to throw out a suggestion of Repo the Genetic Opera if you're into like hard
Yep.
rock. That's
Reaper
a-
Madness
it.
is good too.
Bat Boy.
I did that.
Never heard of that one.
Then
It's so
what's-
good.
And also Bat Out of Hell was recently before the
Mhm.
shutdown.
Reefer Madness is good.
Reefer Madness. First Nudie musical is kind of fun. There's a lot.
Weird
There's just
ones.
a whole, and then of course, you know, there's the Dear Evan Hansons, and there's Hades Town, and you know, some of the newer stuff that really you know, it really sort of reinvents the genre, and you can see some really incredible stuff, and it's really, you know, and of course Phantom of the Opera.
oh, of course,
One of my
Phantom.
favorites.
That's everyone's
Yes.
everyone's seen that one.
It's the gateway
And
drug.
Les
It's
Mis.
the gateway drug, and Les Mis.
Phantom and Les Mis are the gateway drugs. I think.
Yes.
The
But
theater.
there's a lot of really, really fun
Yeah.
stuff out there. But it is a visual medium. It's a visual as well as auditory medium, which is why Dr. Horrible works so well.
On both.
Yes. Oh,
On
here's
both.
the other thing. They understood how to shoot musicals.
Yeah.
You see movies that don't understand how to shoot musicals, and you're like, this was so great on stage. Why doesn't it work? And it's no, because
The
Joss Whedon
producers.
is a musical fan.
Yeah.
Producers didn't work because they weren't shooting it. They weren't understanding what the audience needs to see to buy the fact that somebody just broke out into song, y'all.
Mhm.
You know, it's weird.
There's a reason they
Unless
stopped
you-
making them in the 40s and 50s. I mean,
Yeah,
in
well,
general.
Yeah, well, but they're having a comeback. Let's
They
be
are?
honest. They're having a comeback.
Mhm.
Not that there's some excitement.
That's a whole
for it.
other show, though. We could go off on this forever.
So
Right.
here's the final question I got. This is what we always do at the end of these movie episodes. Give me your grade on this episode and justify it, because I know everyone's gonna give this a really high grade, but I want you to justify it, and we're gonna start with Christina this time.
Oh, of course we are.
Ooh.
Can I add one thing, Dub, before we start?
Go for it, sir.
Favorite song. Favorite song too. Add
Okay.
that on there.
Add that on there. Okay.
Oh.
Grade your favorite song and
Okay,
why you
well
grade
then
it.
Blythe gets to start because that was his idea.
That's fair enough.
That's fair.
Whatever.
So what do I rate the movie?
Yes.
I rate it rated an A. Or
An A?
is that how we do it? Is that
Yep.
ABCs or out of 10?
You can do
This
pluses.
is my,
you can
this
do
is my
however you
first
wanna do.
movie episode.
Well, because you're
So I rate it
an
an A. Just based on soundtracks, the rewatchability of it. I've seen it a million times, and I will continue to watch it. for years to come. And my favorite song is Brand New Day.
Very good. Christina, now you ready?
Now it's my turn, yeah. It's always been an A+ for me. The first time I watched it, it stole my heart. I think I had psychedelic dreams that night, and not because I drank, but because of just how it is. And honestly, everybody's a hero. I love how comes across as this really great hero character, but he's so crappy about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's my personality a lot sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it really appeals to me.
Very good. Satomi?
Mine's an A. I'm taking off the plus because there's just a couple of little, as a musician, there's a couple of annoying things to me. Like, what? If somebody sings like they've got a Doppler effect going on.
About.
Oh my gosh.
I so know what you're talking
oh my
about.
gosh. It's like the backs of my arms cringe. You know what I mean? It's just, and everybody's laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. What?
Well, Doppler effect, and then just watching Dub's face as he just can't hold it in because he knows what you're talking about.
My producer face just exploded a little bit. Yes.
That's my favorite song right there. Is Dub's face.
Can we write that?
We need to write a song.
We should.
Dub's face. But I think my favorite song is My Eyes. Because it's got so much complexity, like that's supported by the music. What's going on emotionally is complex. You've got two different points of view that come together in harmony and in some words. I just think it's a beautifully crafted piece of music, and I love listening to it and singing along.
Very good. Go ahead, Miss Geeky Page.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it a solid B. Yep, I'm not the Dr. Horrible fangirl that all of you guys are. I enjoyed it. I've probably only seen it twice in my whole life.
But you haven't seen it recently, right?
No.
Rewatch it after this episode.
I will.
We didn't even rewatch it for the episode.
Right. I'll fully admit. Sorry, listeners. I didn't even have time to rewatch it. Usually, I try to watch it before we record the episode. But I enjoyed it. I think it's fun, and even with the ending.
Good.
So I'll give it a good solid B.
And
We choose to love you anyway.
Yeah.
All of them.
I don't really have a favorite song.
She can't tell you because she can't remember them.
She can't remember
exactly what I do. Her.
I went with
since Lies has decided to out me for my lies. Yeah, I don't remember what any of the names are.
Nice.
Sorry.
Oh, we were doing so well, Courtney.
I know, but you guys had to come up with Lies had to go. Let's name a favorite song, so I couldn't even fake this crap.
She's overcompensating. She's overcompensating with her background.
I've been doing good until now.
Okay, I'm going with an A- because I like it, I love it, but there's room for improvement. It was too short. It was way too short. That was good, yeah. I think, did we jinx you both?
Yeah, Blythe owes me a Coke.
And my favorite song is Freeze Ray because that's the first song that I heard from this that just really just connected me to this, that I wanted to watch everything. Because the first time I saw the beginning and you had Doogie Howser there with his things and made his eyes look all weird, and I'm like,
I will say that this did spark my love affair and appreciation of Neil Patrick Kelly's talent, because I was never a Doogie Howser person.
Oh,
I'm with you there.
Insanely talented.
And
I feel like this was my introduction to him. I don't think I had ever seen him in anything else before this.
I think you were too
I grew
young
up with
for
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, no.
Because Doogie Howser was when we were kids.
I was in junior high or high school.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
P.S. Dub, Hedwig and the Angry. Oh, you listened to Hedwig.
I did.
Yeah, I made him listen to that one already.
Yes. Okay.
I did.
And he listened to the MPH version.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Hedwig like the owl?
No.
Let's finish this one after.
I'll tell you Hedwig is later.
So tell me, tell us about your charity and why that you're going to sing Dr. Horrible songs to kids in the hospital.
Well, we are BroadwayHearts.org. And listen, if you know a children's hospital or a local branch of Ronald McDonald House who's interested in having us, please do reach out to us, info@broadwayhearts.org. We are a group of Broadway performers, and we've actually expanded a little bit to include some non-Broadway performers, and we have sing-alongs with kids who are in children's hospitals, and we also create content for them. And we have a wonderful scholarship program that I'll tell you another time because I've been talking way too long today.
Give to that scholarship fund. I do. You should too. And until next time, I'm going to just introduce everybody real quick. I'm Dub, and with me is Chrissy in the closet. We have Miss Geeky Page. We have Miss Satomi Hoffman and Mr. young curmudgeon himself, Lies. Keep on geeking on, kids. Check out all our stuff. Patreon us and all that stuff. Love ya. Talk to you later.
Keep on geeking on.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.